You didn't wake up feeling dramatic today. You woke up already carrying something. Not panic. Not fear. Just weight. The kind that sits quietly in your chest before the day even starts. Nothing was falling apart. Nothing urgent was flashing. No crisis was calling your name. And yet, you already knew. The day would ask something of you. You felt it while getting ready, while checking messages, while preparing yourself to show up again. This is how many days have been lately. They don't announce themselves as difficult. They simply require you to be present, responsible, and steady. And that requires strength. You don't talk much about it, because from the outside, everything still looks intact. You're functioning. You're responding. You're doing what needs to be done. Nothing collapsed. But you were carrying it all. This season hasn't been loud. It hasn't demanded attention. It has simply expected continuity. And continuity can be heavier than crisis. Because crisis ends, but continuity keeps asking. You didn't suddenly become strong. You became reliable. And reliability often comes with invisible weight. People learn they can depend on you. Life learns it can lean on you. And little by little, you become the one who holds things together, not because you asked for it, but because you stayed. There were moments when you noticed others step back, not dramatically, just quietly, and without discussion. The weight shifted. It landed on you, and you carried it. Without announcement, without applause. That kind of caring changes a person. Not quickly. Gradually, you start guarding your energy. You become more selective with your words. You measure your reactions because you can't afford to fall apart. This isn't weakness. It's adaptation. And Scripture understands this kind of season deeply. Psalms 73-26 says, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart, and my portion forever." This psalm wasn't written from collapse. It was written from internal strain. The psalmist was still standing, still engaged, still participating in life. But internally, he recognized his limits. He didn't pretend. He was fine. He didn't dramatize. He acknowledged that his strength was finite. And instead of collapsing under that truth, he placed it in God's hands. God did not shame him for being tired. God became strength, where his own was running thin. That is what sustained you. Not endless energy, enough strength for what the day required, enough clarity to make the next decision, enough patience to stay present when it would have been easier to disengage. You didn't feel powerful. You felt steady. And steadiness is often how God works. In seasons like this season didn't remove your responsibilities. It reshaped how you carried them. Psalm 55:22 says, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and he will sustain you." Sustain does not mean escape. It means support. It means the weight remains, but it is no longer crushing. David wrote this while pressure continued. Leadership did not pause. Conflict did not disappear. But the burden was shared. That sharing is what kept him upright. And it is what kept you upright. You didn't stop being responsible. You stopped carrying responsibility as if everything depended on your strength alone. That quiet shift protected your inner life. It allowed you to continue without hardening. This season also taught you how much strength it takes to regulate yourself, to pause before reacting, to remain composed when emotions wanted to spill, to choose restraint, not because you were afraid, but because you were wise. That kind of strength is rarely noticed, but it is deeply formative. Psalm 121:3 says, "He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber." This promise does not say the path will be smooth. It says you will remain standing. And you have. Even when the ground felt uneven, you adjusted your pace. You learned when to slow down. Not because you were failing, because you were learning how to last. Nothing collapsed, but you were carrying it all. And carrying weight over time changes how you see things. You became more discerning. You learned what deserves your energy and what quietly drains it. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." You began guarding your heart, not by withdrawing from life, but by becoming intentional. You learned to say no internally, even when you said yes externally. You learned to protect your inner world so you could remain faithful in the outer one. That is stewardship, not selfishness. This season also refined your understanding of strength. You used to associate strength with clarity, confidence, and motivation. Now you know it can coexist with uncertainty and fatigue. Psalm 66:10 says, "For you, O God, have tested us. You have refined us like silver." Refining doesn't destroy. What matters? It removes what cannot last. Silver remains. It becomes clearer. So reveal. Clearer about your limits. Clearer about your priorities. Clearer about what you can carry and what you must release. That clarity came at a cost, but it was not wasted. Isaiah 40:31 says, "Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength." Waiting here does not mean inactivity. It means continuing. Without immediate clarity, without visible reward. You waited while working. You waited while deciding. You waited while carrying responsibility, and strength was renewed. Not as excitement, but as steadiness. Enough to stay aligned. Enough to remain faithful. Jesus speaks directly to people living this reality. In Matthew 11:28, he says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." He does not call those who avoided responsibility. He calls those who labored. Rest here is not escape. It is restoration within responsibility. It is the reassurance that you are not alone inside the effort. Nothing collapsed, but God saw how much you were carrying. He saw the discipline, the patience, the quiet endurance. Nothing was wasted. This season shaped you into someone steadier, more grounded, more discerning. That matters. If this message spoke to you, like the video, share it with someone who has been carrying more than they ever say out loud. Subscribe for more devotionals that speak to real life and real faith. And if you feel led, leave a comment saying, "God sustained me. May His peace find you today."